All right, we are recording. Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm so excited to be on here sharing a little bit with y'all tonight. So before I dive in and share my screen, do all these fun things, some quick little housekeeping. So really quick, our next 30-day group starts January 4th. So go ahead and mark your calendar. And y'all use this time to be priming people to make the decision before then. So use this week and next week to really be sending like videos, getting people on calls, like getting people primed to do the 30-day, because that week between Christmas and New Year's is like so exciting, like the best time ever to be following up with people and getting them on board to do the 30-day. So yes, definitely. And like pop in the chat if you've got people on the fence and how excited you are. If you're doing the 30-day, go ahead and put that in the chat as well. But seriously, like set yourself up now for that success, because it will come. And I know that, like Andrea was saying earlier this month, it's a funky time because we're in the middle of holiday seasons, but that doesn't mean that this month is like, you know, crap. Like it's amazing. And there's so much that's going to happen in your business, but put the work in now and do the work now so that you can follow up on those things later this month. Second thing on our housekeeping is the Facebook party. We are going to do a 30-day focused Facebook, like team-wide Facebook party on January 28th. So mark your calendar. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be talking mainly about the 30-day and then the 10-day option. So just stay tuned. We'll be posting more about that in Success and Simplicity on Facebook. And then I think that's all the housekeeping. And if I miss anything, just chime in at the end. But tonight, what I'm going to be training on, y'all, is some tweaks that I've been making in my business. And these are super minor tweaks that you would probably not even think about twice, that I've made in my business that have had a huge impact. And it's launched not only myself, but also everyone on my team that I've been working with closely into a ton of activity and a ton of momentum. And it's helped us not only have our best month since April, but also we've been sponsoring more. We've been super focused and have like a purpose now. And it feels exciting rather than like lost and confusing and like overwhelming. So these are really small tweaks that help me feel more confident in leading others to success on my team. And my goal is to walk you through all these just little tiny changes that I made so that you can implement them into your business. So I figured the best way to do this is I'm going to share before and afters. So these are like before I started doing these things and then after and what that looks like. So before I started implementing these tweaks, oh, there we go. Before I started implementing these little tweaks, the getting started process for a new consultant looked different for each person for me. Some people I would send the recording, some people would tune into the live, some people just wouldn't do anything, and I would like do a mishmash of getting started. So it was all over the place. After I started implementing our system and like actually sticking to it, now every single person that joins my team or someone on my team's team, they are going to watch not only the recording, but also get on a live training. And this has been huge because it helps all the new people understand how we get paid, the numbers, how we promote. Also, it's going to help them feel more confident sharing Arbonne with other people. And there were so many things that I didn't realize people on my team didn't know about, like our compensation plan or how we get paid or how you promote to district and area. So make sure every single person not only gets on the live, but also watches the recording. I think it's like amazing to have that double exposure. Okay, so before I would tell them about the 21 reasons why, but I would never really dive into it with them personally. After implementing these tweaks, now that I'm going to show y'all a really cool resource that we have. And now that we've listed this out on our Arbonne tracker, which I'll show y'all in a minute, it's so cool because you're going to be able to see exactly what people's 21 reasons why are. So we've been going back to this, going back to their whys. And this is something that Polly really helped me with a lot of people on my team, was just diving back in and figuring out what is everyone's why? Because if you don't have a strong why, the tough times you're going to give up easily. And so you really have to have a strong why to know that you're committed and to pull you through. And it's also helpful for you to know as their sponsor or just as their like mentor, what people's goals are, and be super on purpose about them. Okay, I know you're working to, like, I know the reason that you're doing this is because of XYZ. Like, can I help show you how to do that? Okay, so before I would tell my new ICs to make a 100-person list, but I wouldn't be super strict about it. After, I now explain why it has to be 100 people and we all hop on Zoom once it gets there. Before, I would send my new ICs some verbiage for them to send out to their top 10. Like I would text it to them, and then I would just say, here's some verbiage ideas, tweak it, make it sound like you, and send it to your 100-person list, which we all know that usually doesn't happen. And after, this was like a huge realization, is now every single time with someone new, once they're finished their 100-person list, we get on Zoom together and walk through their top 10 together, and we come up with a text that feels super good, super amazing for them, and we send that out to their top 10, but also the rest of their 100-person list. And this has been a game changer because people are now feeling more confident and excited about the text that they're sending. They're actually sending them and getting through their 100-person list and like booking a ton of activity, which is amazing. And I found that a lot of times we will even be on Zoom while they're getting some replies like then and there, and we can answer some of the common replies together. So that's been really good, and we've been able to tweak a lot of conversations. And also, when you have a new person and they get a weird reply or a funky reply, you want to like nip that in the butt right then and there and say either this is normal or here's how we respond to this, or you're going to have some people that respond like this. That's totally fine, versus if they're doing it on their own. Before I started implementing these tweaks, I would share my iStory and I would tell them how to make it, but I wouldn't help them nail it down. After, this is a really important step, and I now make sure that every single person has to have their iStory completed by the time we do the first one-on-one together, because they're going to share that on the one-pager, and they're going to share their iStory. I'm going to share my iStory. So I want to make sure that it's good and that we've had like drafted it and that they feel really confident sharing it. Before I implemented these tweaks, I was ho-hum if they didn't reach their 100-person list in a short amount of time. So I'm talking in terms of a short amount of time, like, I would be ho-hum if they didn't reach out to their entire 100-person list. So like, let's say they just reached out to like 50 people. It's super, super important that you reach out to all 100 within a short span of time, like 48 hours. And the reason why, and this is what I've implemented now in the after, is that this is literally the bread and butter. This is how we get into activity. It is so, so important. And it also made me realize that if someone was feeling stuck or like their business wasn't where they wanted to be, or like they weren't in momentum, it was such an easy fix to be like, okay, well, how many people have you reached out to on your 100-person list? And they'd be like, well, I've reached out to 30. And it's like, oh, well, there you go. That's the answer, is you haven't finished your 100-person list. Of course you don't have a ton of things booked. So y'all, it's kind of like a deck of cards where sometimes there's going to be 4 aces in your deck of cards. Every once in a blue moon, those 4 aces are going to be at the very last 4 cards. Like they're going to be all the way after you flipped all the cards in the deck. It's the same thing with your 100-person list. We know that only about 30 to 50 are even going to reply at all, just reply. So what if those 30 to 50 people are at the very tail end of your 100-person list? What if you stopped at 30? What if you stopped at 40? What if you stopped at 50? Like, you could literally be missing the gold, and that is everything in our business. So before, and I'm almost done, before I had no idea where people were in their businesses in terms of the activity amount, who needed follow-up, etc. I felt like every time we did a strategy call, I was so like lost and confused, because we would be like, okay, who are you talking to? Who's on the fence again? Wait, did we do one pager with that person? I'm like a little confused where they're at. And once you start doing this with so many people on your team, it gets really overwhelming. So after, and this is going to be super helpful, I think, for all of y'all's businesses, is we've started using something called the Arbonne tracker, and it's now on the website. And I've had calls with people on my team, and we've been using this tracker for the past couple of weeks, and it has been incredible. And it's so simple, because now whenever we have a call or a strategy time, or like someone is like, I feel stuck in my business, or like, I'm not sure what to do next, we just pull up the Arbonne tracker, and we can easily look and see, okay, have you reached out to all 100? What does your, like, what activity are you in? Who needs follow-up? Who are you talking to? Like, you'll see when I show you, it's amazing. So this is a really awesome fix. Before, I was all over the place in terms of sharing Arbonne. I was like sending videos, doing healthy happy hours, like doing like literally Facebook parties, like 15 different forms of activity. And this is not to bash anybody that's in activity. I'm just telling you what's working for me. And instead of focusing on so many different things, I need blinders. Like, I need focus. Otherwise, it gets really confusing for me, especially when I'm working with a lot of people. So for me, that focus has been just doing the one pager. And we can do that one-on-one, or we can do that in a group setting, but it's the one pager every single time. And everything else is gravy. So I'm using like Facebook parties and healthy happy hours and sending videos as second, third, and fourth exposures. But the one pager is the main thing.
Thank you.
Okay, so, and then of course, if you meet people through a Facebook party or like out and about and you give them a sample, like, or they're starting on the products and they haven't seen the one pager first, that's like a backdoor approach where you can then loop back with them and show them the one pager later. So a quick little note about the one pager. This is why I'm so laser beam focused on it, is because we know our system in Arbonne is sharing the Arbonne story, product and business every single time with 40 people every single month with an ask at the end. Y'all, the one pager checks both boxes. The front side is product, the back side is business. We know statistically that if you get in front of 40 people, you're gonna find clients and consultants. And then that ask at the end is so important, because without it, you have no idea where that person stands. So by ask, I mean, this is literally what I do. I say, I have to ask, like, would you ever think about doing something like Arbonne? And then be quiet and listen to what they say. So the last before and after is before I was doing groups or, before I was doing, before I was letting my consultants basically take the reins and do like the one pager solo by themselves after like 1 or 2 times seeing me do it, which I'm going to talk about duplication more in a second. But after I realized this was really not duplicating well, because they were skipping parts of the one pager. They weren't asking the questions at the end. Some people weren't sharing the screen and like showing people the one pager. There were so many things that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that like I hadn't been teaching this very well. So I went back, and now I've been doing one-on-ones with everyone like a lot. Like we've been doing 5 to 10, sometimes 15 together. And that might seem like a lot, but I don't let them do it by themselves until I know they've got it all down, and also until they feel really confident, because people will ask questions that are like, you know, how does this work? Or how do we get paid? Or is it one of those things? Like, you want to be able to answer all those questions without your sponsor on the phone. So that's why we've been doing it so many times. So hopefully that paints a good picture of like the tweaks that I've been making, what I've been doing. And remember, y'all, it's not about what works. It's about what duplicates. And stay the course, because we know that this works. Like just within a short period of time, like over the past 6 weeks, I've had so much growth in my business. And I know there's a bunch of people in my region. I'm going to call on 2 people to share examples in a minute. But y'all, we have incredible leaders, like between Polly and Andrea, like they've been at Arbonne for 10 to 15 years. Like we're in good hands here, y'all. They know what we're doing. And I do want to say, like, put your blinders on and just know that your business works in 30, 60, and 90-day cycles. And I like to think of this business like Arbonne's like a farm. You know, we're farmers in Arbonne. We're not hunters. This is not a one and done. We're not just going out and like looking for that one-time sale and being like, done. Absolutely not. Like that's not going to build a sustainable business. Absolutely not. We are relationship building. We're planting those seeds. We're showing people the one pager and then giving them multiple exposures over a short period of time. And with those multiple exposures, you're watering those seeds, you're giving them sunlight. Those are going to blossom. They might take time though. Some of them are going to blossom within 30 days. Some are going to take 90. Some are going to take 60. Some are going to take years. But the point is you have to stay consistent and you have to put those blinders on, because things will happen in your business when you continue this process and when you stay the course. So I'm going to share my screen and walk y'all through some of the not changes, but like some things that we've been adding to our team website. And if you want to make these tweaks in your business and you aren't sure where to start, go ahead in the comments in the chat and put back to basics in the chat, and your regional vice president will be in touch to get you back on track and like loop you back into what's been going on. And we will literally hold your hand the entire way. So, and then if you do have, I just asked somebody to unmute by accident. If you do have questions, just pop them into the chat as well. Okay, so can y'all see? Can y'all see that okay? Perfect. Okay, so this is our team website. For brownie points, go ahead and write what our password to our team website is if you know it in the comments, because I'm not going to tell you. You should know this by now. But our team website is successinsimplicitynations.com. And underneath team resources and getting started, scroll down And this is the recording right here to Andrea's Getting Started training. But like I mentioned earlier, you need to make sure that people are on the live Getting Started training. It's at 8 p.m. Central Time every single Monday night. If you're in a different country and that's just like literally impossible, that's totally fine. We get that. We don't expect you to be up at 4 a.m. just to tune into a Getting Started training, but let your RVP know, because we can then schedule another time to do that with you and your new teammates. And then the coolest part of all is this new tracker. It's not new, but we've been editing it. So can you tell that I'm switching screens right now? Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. So you've noticed out of the Getting Started page right there that we took off one of the options, which was the new consultant workbook. The reason why is because, yes, some of us are paper people. I love paper. I have a million lists and like things printed out all over my wall. However, in terms of organization and like really growing and duplicating your business, this is what's going to duplicate. And it's having it online in a super easy fashion. So every single time you bring a new consultant onto your team, have them make a copy of this. Literally just go to File, Make Copy. And then every single person on my team, I have their first and last name, like so-and-so's Arbonne tracker. And this is amazing. It's basically our consultant tracker, our new consultant workbook in an Excel sheet. So they're going to start here and read through this. And then we've got a checklist for them. So first and foremost, when they get on the live training, they can check this off. When they complete their 21 reasons why, they can check this off, your 100-person list. So it's really fun because you get to like check things off as you're going. And then the next tab over is your 21 reasons why. They will fill in their 21 reasons. And again, you as their mentor are going to have access to this so that when y'all are on a call and they're having a really tough time or they're feeling really down, you can pull up their 21 reasons why and be like, hey, I know you're looking to travel the world, or I know that you are really passionate about going on this mission trip and this is what you need to make that happen. This is literally the vehicle to do that. How can we get you there? So it's going to help you remember what their why is. Your 100-person list. So your new person is going to be filling out this column with 100 people. It's pretty easy because it's numbered over here. And when they're done filling out their 100-person list, they'll put checks next to their names when they've sent the text out. And by the way, I like to get on Zoom with people, like I was saying, and work through the verbiage with them. So for example, let's say Polly was my new consultant on my team, and I was like, Polly, tell me a little bit about Mary Smith. Polly would be like, oh, she's a high school friend. She works at a nonprofit. She's super sweet. Okay, awesome. And then we would come up with verbiage together and type this out here for Polly to then send to Mary Smith. When Mary Smith replies, she can then add a little check mark there. And then once we've scheduled a one-pager, or if she can't for some reason do one-pager, maybe we want to get her onto a group thing, we would go ahead and put in scheduled IPA. By the way, quick little plug, IPA is not a beer in Arbonne. It stands for income producing activity. So just know that's what that means if you ever like, what the heck is IPA? So this is super helpful too, because you'll be able to see your ratios. So for example, if you've reached out to 10 people and have 0 replies, we can then be like, okay, something's going on. Maybe we need to tweak your verbiage. If you reach out to 10 people and 5 reply, that's an awesome ratio. That's about half. Out of those 5 people, how many are then becoming clients? How many are we scheduling stuff with? How many are becoming consultants? So this is really, really helpful for us to track. And it'll be helpful for you and your mentor to be like, what's going on, is, you know, if you feel stuck or whatever. Okay, next is your I story. This is super important, especially at the beginning, because you're going to be scheduling a lot of activity with your sponsor, and you're going to have your I story to share at the beginning of that one pager. So this just walks you through, how were you introduced to Arbonne? What were your fears and hesitations? What was your turning point? What are your hopes and dreams for the future? And then stringing them together. Send that draft to your area manager or VP, and they will help fine tune it and make it sound good. Okay, and then your IPA tracker. This is like my favorite part of the whole thing to talk to y'all about. So this is amazing. What you're going to do is, once people have seen something, once they're in your funnel, once you've, like, let's say they've seen the one pager, or they've been to a Facebook party, or you've sent them a sample, or maybe like y'all were out at a bar and they tried a fizz stick, they go on your IPA tracker because they have they've tried Arbonne, like they're in your funnel. Okay, so once they're in your funnel, they come on your IPA tracker, your income producing activity tracker, and you're then going to write your notes about them, what your next action is. So let's say Jane Doe, for example, she's a friend, went to high school together, she's a kid now, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to scroll over here in terms of exposures, and I know I showed her the one pager already, so I'm going to check that off. She went to a Facebook party. I'm going to add that in. And then the second exposure, or third, I guess, would be that I sent her some samples. So I know that I probably still need to do a few more exposures for her, but for now I've done a couple. And I know that she needs follow-up in terms of the product. So this over here, the status key, is really cool because you can do this drop down and click what they're interested in, and then you can sort. So for example, once you have like 50, 100, 200, 500 people on your IPA tracker, you can easily look through this and be like, okay, I'm going to loop back with everyone that's interested in product and close some of these orders. Or I'm going to loop back with everyone that was interested in the business and get them signed up and like getting started. Everyone that was interested in connecting or hosting for you, like go schedule Facebook parties with those people. So this will really, really help you stay so laser beam focused. And that's why I'm obsessed with this. Okay, and then team tracker. So this is super cool because as you bring people onto your team, again, you're going to be in so much activity. You want to make sure that you're also helping your new people get started successfully. So this is going to help you keep track of who's joining your team, where you are in the process with them. So for example, we're just using Jane Doe again. Jane Doe needs to finish her 100-person list and get texts out. This is some of her reasons why. We came up with some text verbiage for her that sounds really good. So I can look back at this and see what we came up with for Jane Doe. And then this is also a little checklist to see, okay, we did this together, check. We did this together, check. Sent text. They've only sent 50 other 100-person list text. Awesome. We have to do that next. So it's just a really good way for you to keep track of what's going on. And then activity booked. This has been super helpful because as there have been new people joining the team, I've been able to see the activity level. And if someone has only done 3 one-on-ones, again, that's an easy fix. We need to be filling this column up with activity, and we need to be helping our new people with that. So that's been super nice. And then the last tab, y'all, is just for verbiage. And as you craft messages that you love, this is just a place for you to store them that you can easily get back to and remember. So like I have an ask that I love that I use all the time for one-on-ones. And so I have that and I just go back and we'll use that a bunch of times. Same thing for like 30-day Facebook asks, all that kind of stuff. So that is our updated Arbonne tracker. Does anyone have questions? I'll open the chat too and see. Let's see if anybody had questions. Everyone can unmute, by the way, if you have questions.
Jen had that question of, for the sake of back to basics, what counts as income producing activity?
I love that. Okay, cool. So income producing activity.
Oh, Andrea answered it. I just saw it.
One sheeter, yeah, product job, asking his. Yep, and that was actually one thing that I noticed once I started sharing that Arbonne tracker with my team. I noticed that people were putting like a text message as income producing activity, which I don't count just sending a text as IPA. Like you have to actually be doing, like that's just scheduling it. You have to actually be, not social media either. That's not IPA. So a lot of people I know spend so much time like doing social media posts and all that kind of stuff, but really like you want to be spending your time on what's going to grow your income, aka income producing activity. So does that make sense?
Yeah, and I want to just say, because I know that some of us maybe had used this before Gabby made some changes. Don't worry, you can copy and just dump, like let's say you want to just make another copy of the new sort of layout so that you have all the sheets. You can copy from your tracker already and just copy it, paste it right in. It works great because I had to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And then I do want to call on, let's see. Okay, Shannon, there you are. I see you. To share a little bit about how it's been working in their businesses.
Yeah, so when I first jumped in, I've been in the business since April of this year, and I just kind of hit the ground running, but in a completely different way than what we are currently doing right now. And this has helped my business so much to the point where I'm like, oh man, like everyone needs to do this from the get-go, because if I had been better at that at the very beginning and attacked it the way we are now and approached everything that way, I would have had a million more yeses, I feel. And it's also, you know, the comfort level. But the nice thing about doing the one pager versus like when I first started, for instance, I would do like at least 4 or 5 Facebook parties the first few weeks. And I was just, let's go Facebook. And then I wasn't getting a lot of positive activity coming out of them, no new consultants. And it was kind of just like, yay, we get free stuff, but I also wasn't doing the follow-ups the way we're doing them now. But with the tracker, now that Gabby and I are always on the same page, literally, and then we're following up with the same approach and verbiage and everything, keeping track of it, and I'm not getting all scatterbrained. And then also sticking with the one pager rather than me doing Facebook and then doing Instagram Live and then doing a Zoom and fill in the blank. It's really, really helped me also be more confident when I'm presenting. It helps me answer any questions they may have that seem out of the blue, well, would have seemed out of the blue before, but pretty much everyone has the same questions and concerns after doing the one pager. I'm super comfortable doing that now, and it takes less time, I feel, because you don't have to really prepare anything. You're just going for it. And my favorite thing about it that's been positive for my business is that it's a one-on-one. It's not, I love Facebook parties, but you're actually connecting and giving all of your focus to that one person. So it's a lot more personable. And that way you can have that conversation at the end, and it's so much easier than, say, doing like a live Zoom sometimes. It just depends on the person, but it's really benefited me in all of those ways.
Yeah. And I think that was a huge like mindset shift for a lot of us. Kind of like what Polly was saying in the chat just now, like Facebook parties are amazing, y'all. They're such a good way to meet people, but it was a mindset shift for us because before we were using them as a way to like make sales and sponsor people, and that's not really what they're for. Facebook parties are to connect with people. They're to get more people onto your list. And then once they're on your IPA tracker, you can exactly like use it as a funnel to get people onto your list and like meet new people. So it was like definitely a mindset shift for me. And now I'm like way happier when I do a Facebook party, because even if people don't really engage, I still have started conversations, and like that is considered like, that's what you're looking for. That's like the success behind them. It's not the like right now sale that I was talking about earlier. So, and then I wanted to ask Dylan real quick to share a little bit about her experience as a newbie, because Dylan is like 2 months in. So to kind of give y'all an idea.
Yeah, sure. So I don't know a world without that tracker because that's all I've ever been doing. But I am a like full-time school administrator, so I'm a serious nooks and crannies type of person. And so like that focus is so amazing for me because it's like a high leverage activity. So when I think about the people that now like 2 folks have come onto my team, and just some of the folks that hopped on and did the 10-day, like those were all people from the one pager. They weren't from like other things that I decided to try to do or social media post or anything like that. So I'm a big fan of that and just kind of learning to do this and being really consistent with it.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Yay. Well, that's all we have for our training tonight. Hopefully this is helpful in some way. And again, just reach out to your area manager or VP, and they can help you if you're like, hey, I want to go back to basics, but like, where do I start, kind of thing. And it's been amazing. And I can't tell you enough, like how these tiny little tweaks have made a huge difference. Even though beforehand I like didn't see it myself, now I can look back and be like, wow, everyone should be doing this. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Gabby.
Yay. All right, y'all. Well, happy weekend, and see you guys soon.
Thank you, Gabby.
Thanks, Gabby. That was so good.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.